When the power goes out for a day or two, or even longer, you're still going to need to be able to cook food and meals for your family. If you haven't already got your primary alternative, safe to use indoors stove and fuel combination like some of these, get it as soon as you can, but don't worry right now because you probably have some hidden fuels in your home right now that you can use indoors to cook meals, heat food, make coffee, and such things like that. Welcome to the Chef Prepper channel. My name is Les, and in this video, we're going to look at some of those hidden fuels that you probably already have in your home right now that you can use when the power is out for a few days to heat, cook food, boil water, make coffee, and things like that. This is the video in which we're going to announce the winner of the Opez Exodus 600 Plus power station that we gave away. So stick around to see if you're the winner of that power station. So now let's look at some of these fuels and see what you can do with them. I wanted to show you before we get started, fire extinguisher, fire blanket, first aid kit, and carbon monoxide detector. So the first alternative or hidden fuel that nearly everybody's going to have in their home is rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol. And it comes in different flavors, so to speak. 50% alcohol, 70%, and 91% alcohol. You can also get a 99% alcohol, but you'll probably have to order that online. All three of these can be used to heat food, cook food, and do a minimal amount of frying. The difference in these, obviously, is the amount of alcohol that's in each one. The other thing that's in here, other than the alcohol, is primarily water. And so this one will put out a lot of soot. So when you cook or fry or anything using the 50% alcohol, it will get the skillet or the kettle very, very black on the bottom or on the outside. If you're interested in seeing how long they will burn compared one to another and how much water's left over after the flame goes out, I did that kind of an experiment in this video, and you can check it out if you want. So hidden fuel number one, rubbing alcohol. I'm going to use the 70% because it kind of comes in the middle of the others. This is a sardine can. I'm going to use that as our stove. And from past experience, I can assure you that sardine cans work much better as a stove if you take the sardines out first. This one isn't open, so I'm switching to the 91%. I'm going to use the Snow Peak kettle. To make this kettle fit, I had to turn the sardine can the opposite direction, close these a little bit. And we reach the rolling boil. You do need to snuff the fire out once you're finished. Another potential fuel that nearly everyone has in their home is hand sanitizers. The primary reason that they work is because the main ingredient, of course, is alcohol. And as most of you know, hand sanitizers are not nearly as liquidy as rubbing alcohol. They're more along the lines of gel fuels. Try to use one that doesn't have lots of flavorings or colors or smelly stuff in it. Just get the basic clear sanitizer and use it like you would use a gel fuel. Another hidden fuel that you might have in your home be Crisco or any type of vegetable shortening. If this is what you have to turn to, you're going to need some way to get a wick down into the Crisco. Something interesting about this container of Crisco. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it says best used by July 13th, 2011. So I've had this approximately 15 years because I would have bought it before the best buy date had came and gone. So if you guys would be interested in seeing if nearly 15-year-old Crisco is still good, tell me down in the comments, and maybe we'll try this jug of Crisco out in a future video. Yes, you buy these for lights more than likely and probably have them, but they will also serve as a fuel for heating, cooking food, heating water. Very difficult to boil water. I won't say that you cannot do it, but it's very difficult. But it will certainly pasteurize water, like we talked about in this video. And if you don't have any other means of making safe drinking water, pasteurizing will make your water safe to drink, biologically speaking. And there are 6 just regular small birthday candles in there, like these. I just merely pushed them down in, left the wick sticking up ever so much. And if you try this, you'll have to play around at first to see how much of the candle to leave out, or whether or not to put in some other kind of wick rather than a birthday candle. And at the same time, I'm going to also be doing the tea candles. And these cans that you see, in the past, people have been concerned that they might get too hot. I assure you that they do not, especially with Crisco. What they're there for is for the grate or the grill that I can set the cups of water on in a couple of minutes. Two cups of water over Crisco, 2 cups of water over the tea candles. The tea candles. About 175 degrees. One of the problems trying to cook with tea candles, as you can see, one of them has gone out. The Crisco, still burning strong. So we're going to call it quits on the tea candles. They did get up to right at 180 degrees with 6 tea candles, although one of them did go out. I actually have too much space between the bottom of the kettle and the top of the flames. I'm not sure if you can tell, but there's probably about close to 1.5 inches, and that probably should be like about 3/4 of an inch. I have boiled water with tea candles, but this time in this video, it's not going to happen. But even at 180 degrees, that's hot enough to pasteurize water. That's hot enough to heat up any of your canned foods, your one-pot meals, your canned MREs like these. So obviously tea candles will work for some things, but they do have their limitations. So it's boiling. So with Crisco or vegetable shortening, there's quite a bit that you can actually do as far as cooking and heating. You can boil water, you can pasteurize water, you could heat and boil soups, stews. So after about 50 minutes, we didn't really burn hardly any of the Crisco. We did turn it into a liquid at least, about 1 inch of it. Yes, you can. As much as it might pain you, you can. You can heat food with it. You can cook on it. 95% alcohol by volume. Will it or won't it? Just a moment. For those of you who may be a little leery of using some of those things from your home as fuels, there are other alternatives out there to those alternatives that we just looked at. I have several here that you might want to consider. This one is the Vesta space heater and stove. You can cook, fry, and also use it as a space heater, which I've done both of those. This is a Trangia miniature kitchen. It's got all the stuff in it you need to heat, cook, and fry foods, including the stove. It is an alcohol stove. This is your traditional outdoor propane stove, which we all know a lot of people use them indoors. And if you choose to do so, you got to follow all the safety precautions. It uses propane as a fuel. This is a sterno stove, uses sterno type fuels. This is a butane stove, but this one will also use propane. So various different types of stoves and fuels that you can have on hand if you'd like. So do you have a favorite hidden or do-it-yourself type of fuel to use in emergencies to cook food with? Or do you have a primary alternative, safe to use indoor, commercially made stove and fuel combination? Did I leave your favorite one out? The Opez Exodus 600 Plus winner has been selected. Was it you? I recorded the selection process. I'm going to show that to you now and announce the winner. The giveaway was announced during the review of the Opez Mega 1 video, and in that video you had to make a comment and include the words "Count me in" to register for the Exodus 600 Plus power station. First, I went to my YouTube channel homepage, found the Opez Mega 1 review video, copied the link to the video. From there, I went to a website called Pick a Winner, which has an app that randomly picks contest winners for YouTube and other such social media platforms. Put in the link to the video that I had copied. I then clicked the fetch button. It brought up the video. I had to choose a filter then, which is the word or words or phrase that I asked people to include in their comment. Typed in the key phrase. Clicked continue, which led me to here. As you can see, there were 132 comments that had that key phrase, "Count me in." Now, pick a winner. Here goes. And the winner is Frank Mariano. I apologize if I mispronounced that name. Mr. Mariano. That means that you have to contact me by email within 1 week from the publication of this video. My email address is included in every description box of every video that I have. It is spelled kind of funny. It has 2 F's rather than 1 in chef. So be sure you spell it right, or I won't be able to receive your email. Once I get that email, I'll contact you back and we'll take care of things from there. Thank you to everyone who watched the video, who entered the contest, and congratulations, Frank Mariano. And of course, if you're going to use any of these hidden do-it-yourself type of fuels, or any of those commercially made fuels like the propane or butane, or the commercially made alcohol fuels for alcohol stoves, there are some safety items and precautions that you need to take. And I want to be sure to go over those with you. So when it comes to the items, carbon monoxide detector is, you got to have it, a fire extinguisher and or a fire blanket, because you're far more likely to have fires that you don't intend to have using these kinds of fuels. And you need a first aid kit in the kitchen area or the cooking area that has a primary focus on burns. So some safety precautions if you're going to use any type of alcohol fuel. I have some notes, I don't want to leave them out. If you're going to use any of these types of fuels, including the propane and butane, they need to be used in an area with good ventilation. If you use any of the alcohols for fuel, it can be really hard to see the flame. So it's really easy to think that the fuels burn out and start to put more in. That's a disaster. You got to make certain that the flame is out and that the little stove or whatever you're using is cool to the touch before you put more fuel in. Alcohol is very, very flammable. And if you try to put alcohol in because you can't see the flame, but it's still there, you will feel the heat before you actually get putting the fuel in. You'll jerk your hand back, you'll squirt or spray alcohol droplets all over the place, including your face, your hands, and they will burn. Been there, done that, but nothing serious. Thank you, Father. I don't want that to happen to you guys. So be very careful if you use alcohol. If you're going to get yourself prepared with a commercially made propane, butane, or alcohol stove rather than depending upon these hidden type fuels, if you'd like to see some of those in action,